Hello, everyone, and welcome to a Trek Canon. You know, in all of the almost 200 videos that I've done, I think I may have done maybe one that was non-Star Trek related, maybe two. All right. Um, Today is going to be another one of those videos where I'm going to do a non-Trek video. And the thing is that I wanted to do this video because of the Buffalo shootings. Now, there's been a lot of mass shootings in my time, all right? And, you know, there's been kids shot, there's been college students shot, there's been, you know, concert goers shot, shoppers shot, you know. It's been a thing, you know. Um, I wanted to say this. I wanted to basically just tell a story, and this story is something that I've told my sons as they were growing up, being young black guys that they are, you know, or well, now young black men. Now, this is the story I used to tell them because I raised them in mixed and diverse neighborhoods, all right? Sometimes predominantly white neighborhoods, you know what I mean? So, this is the story I used to tell them. I used to tell them a story about the red frogs, all right? So, this guy basically crash lands on his planet, island, whatever you want to use. Crash lands on his planet, and he notices that there's very little food, things that he could eat. You know, he doesn't have anything to go fishing. He doesn't have the skills to make that. But what he does see is a bunch of frogs all over the beach. Now, thing is, you got a bunch of different types of frogs, all different kinds of colors. All right, black frogs, gray frogs, yellow frogs, blue frogs, green frogs. You know, and you also have these red frogs. Now, he found that he could eat these frogs and, you know, get them some food and everything like that. But one day, he walks over to a red frog, picks up this red frog, and he stings the shit out of him. All right? He almost dies. He almost dies when he touches this red frog. Didn't happen with the black frogs. Didn't happen with the yellow frogs. None of the color frogs. So he got a little apprehensive about these frogs, you know. So the next time he touched the frog, you know, he did it with a stick. Nothing happened. So he ends up, you know, barely, you know, poke it, nothing happened. He picked up this frog. It was a red frog, nothing happened. It was just like every other frog. And so he wondered, what the hell, you know? Why did this other frog sting the hell out of me, you know? So he thinks it's just a fluke, you know, and he says, all right, maybe it was a bad day. So he goes, you know, other morning he goes out and he's looking for something to eat. Touches another red frog, stings the mess out of him, almost dies again. You know? So a couple of days after that, he's thinking to himself, okay, well, I've touched two red frogs, almost killed me. But it seems that only some of these red frogs are going to try to, you know, are going to kill me. Got this sting. It must be a difference that I'm not noticing between these red frogs, right? So he sets out on a mission to figure out what's the difference between these red frogs. You know, he's got a full belly now. You know, he's got some time to make some scientific equipment, you know, maybe some charts and graphs and, you know, flow charts and trends and all that types of stuff, right? And he's going out and he's researching these frogs, all right? Some frogs he touch, some frogs he don't touch, you know. Some frogs almost kill him, some frogs don't. And after a long time of going through this, you know, process of trying to figure this out, he realizes that there is no physical difference between the red frogs that will sting him and the red frogs that will not sting him. They all look the same. So years pass and he ends up inhabiting an island with a few other people. All right. Maybe they crash land there too. All right. And just with all things human, he decides to, you know, share his information about the things he's learned on this island. He says, hey, listen, you can touch the black frogs, you can play with the blue frogs, you can hang out with the yellow frogs. You know what I'm saying? Brown frogs are awesome. You know, the gold frogs is cool. They swim real well. Great conversationalists. But these red frogs, you got to be a little weary of them because some of them will kill you, right? And so the people say, well, how do you know the difference? You say, well, I can't really find the difference between the frogs that kill you and the frogs that won't, right? And they say, okay, well, we'll just leave those frogs alone. But in your investigations, being on this island for a while, planet for a while, whatever you want to use, you proceed to tell them, hey, well, you can't really do that because out of all the frogs on this planet, all the frogs on this island, these red frogs tend to really, really want to find you and touch you. You know what I mean? So while you're sleeping, while you're fishing, while you're setting up camp, while you're talking to the other frogs, you know what I'm saying? Whatever. You got to watch out because one of these red frogs will just out the blue come hopping over there to you and try to kill you. All right? Now, when I told this story to my boys when they were younger, I don't think they really understood it. All right? And as they got older and they started to see the ways of the world through interactions with red frogs, they would get stung. All right? And they couldn't tell which one of these red frogs would sting you. All right? So they became kind of apprehensive about all red frogs, just like anybody would be. Now, if there was a way that you could tell red frogs apart, you know what I mean? We used to think that you could tell red frogs apart by the flags that they flew. All right? You used to be able to tell red frogs apart from, say, the trucks that they drove, or the words that they used, or the accents that they had. You kind of narrow down the red frogs pretty good. You knew what areas that the red frogs were, and you tended to stay away from those areas with those red frogs. When you associated with red frogs, you knew that this red frog had the potential to sting the hell out of you. All right? Now, what is the moral of this story? What is the moral of the red frog story? The moral of the red frog story is, if red frogs want to stand out from red frogs that's dangerous, maybe they should find a way to be physically different, or ideologically different, or socially different. Maybe the systems that these red frogs use can better be broken if some of the other red frogs who felt that, hey man, these red frogs that's stinging everybody, they bringing us bad publicity. You know what I'm saying? We can't really associate too much with other frogs or the visitors of this world because it's a bunch of these other red frogs messing it up for everybody. Now, for everybody who's not red frogs, y'all not noticing this? It was something from Doctor Who, from the War Doctor, that he said that was just awesome. And what he had said was, no more. Every time after one of these incidents, when one of these red frogs decide they want to just hop over to somewhere that has nothing to do with them and just wreak havoc, You know what I mean? No more. Police officers, or politicians, or mayors, or judges, or these people do things or say things that are obviously designed to hurt or kill, you know, no more. For what? Why? Prayers and thoughts. What have they changed? Centuries of prayers and thoughts. We have built churches, entire congregations, marches for miles, hundreds of thousands of miles, thousands of hours, hundreds of thousands of hours of trying to talk to red frogs, trying to understand red frogs, trying to be at peace with red frogs, trying to get the red frogs to just leave us alone. But they keep hopping over and they keep finding the ways to sting us. Now, I need you guys to understand that as a prior serviceman, only thing I see is friend and foe. All right? Hindrance and benefit. I see things in the realm of crush, kill, and destroy. All right? Most soldiers do. Now, we have a problem in this country with red frogs. Red frogs spew they hate on TV. Red frogs spew their hate on the radio. Red frogs spew their hate in the chambers, in the highest chambers of our governments, whether it be state or federal. And we let this happen. No more. No more. All right? If you are truly against these red frogs that's messing it up for everybody, no more. Okay? Why should the feelings of these red frogs continue to be the detriment of everyone, whether it be in education, whether it be in livelihood, whether it be in the systems that they create? Why must the minority of these red frogs portray such a degree of effect on our society? Why do we allow it? No more. Okay? So, for everybody who wants to understand these red frogs and say that these red frogs have mental issues, and it's never the fact that these red frogs are just evil ass red frogs, that they can't be reasoned with, that they can't be explained to, that no matter what, it's always going to be a new generation of red frogs because we let these other red frogs teach them. All right, we let these other red frogs perpetuate this. Now we know that we could get rid of the red frogs, because I remember there's one time that the black frogs tried to get together, and not even do any of the evil things that the red frogs do. They were just trying to get together to protect themselves from the red frogs. And we've seen how effective it can be if you really want to get rid of a group of frogs. All right, we know how effective it can be and how quickly it can be done if you really want to get rid of the problem with some frogs. All right, so let's not get that twisted. But I didn't want this video to last too long. Like I always say, I deal with Trek canon. I really couldn't put this into any type of Trek canon, thing. Maybe the episode Home Soil from the Next Generation. Maybe the Marquis from Deep Space Nine in the Next Generation in Voyager. But in all of that, they said no more. You guys be cool. Peace. Recycle. Say the whales.